Welcome and hello, hello and welcome, welcome and hello, guys. Hello and welcome, welcome and hello. It's un poco mas. What a Thursday, guys. Everybody had hope. We'd seen, the market sliding for about the last week, of course, especially, crypto, all the big high flying growth names, Palantirs, Hoods, SOFI was way down. Um, and a lot of people, of course, I think were rotating into, safety, whether it be utilities, healthcare, or some of your more, blue chip banks, some of your dividend payers. I was talking about buying Home Depot yesterday. Walmart's having a great day today. Good print. So, this is one of those gut check times where you really don't want to dump at the bottom, but you don't know where the bottom is. So it kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of fear where, the selling starts rolling downhill. It starts triggering everybody's emotional points and financial points, and kind of in a very real sense, it's triggering, margin calls and liquidations. I was reading some absurd number of accounts, crypto accounts, have been forcefully liquidated on margin calls just over the last week. I mean, it's really, really bloody out there. So, this is a very critical time where you have to own. There's three things I just would emphasize: is owning quality, valuation, and entry points. I mean, valuation and entry points are related, but eh, valuation, I would more say, is just part of your overall, due diligence and analysis of a stock, whereas entry points are kind of watching, the technicals, watching the market. Real don't fight the market, guys. Wait for the slide in growth to be over. Wait for confirmation that it's going back up, and then deploy your capital. This is why I've been talking about, and I know some of you guys don't want to hear me, and you think I'm just, pumping stocks all the time and doing nothing but pumping stocks. But I have been telling you guys, if you're honest with yourselves, take profits, take money off the table. When you have these huge profits, they're going to come back the other way. Now, that's not to say I'm telling you to always try to time the market, but I'm telling you, if you're going to buy and hold through dips, you have to buy quality. I've been the names I've been talking about: Google, Tesla. I haven't been buying Tesla, but Microsoft, Google, Walmart the other day, Bank of America. These are names that are holding up. Costco, another great company, and big tech's holding up well. Meta, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple down, less than a point to even. I mean, Google's even, Apple's even. So some of the names are holding up. Even the It just kind of goes to show you, Google's been going way up. It continues to do well. Something like Bitminer has been sliding and sliding. It's already gotten cut in half. It continues to go down another 10%. Um, it's really a life lesson. And I know a lot of young people have never got a margin call. They've never seen a really bad down market. um, Bitcoin had one big dip here, but it wasn't, super extreme. I think it was down to about 78,000. So we haven't really reached this point, but I think you're going to continue to see this sort of fear-based rotation into these industrials, utilities, healthcare names, consumer staples, materials. Um, and then, you know, if you're going to be in growth, you're going to be in financials, you're going to be in tech, I think people are going to just gravitate toward the top quality companies that make a lot of money, that spin off free cash, and the hopiums, the pre-revenues, I have a concept that may bear fruit in 5 to 10 years. These companies are going to be all thrown in the garbage because the real economy is in trouble, and we're getting some odd contradictory data, like say, okay, we got a record number of new jobs, and then we also have a record unemployment. So something's got to give. Are the statisticians putting a lot of these people who are intentionally not working and not finding, are they finding their way to the unemployment rolls? you know, through no fault of their own. But it's just one of those times that you see foreclosures are way up year on year. The subprime, subprime auto borrowers, like 7% are subject to repossession. And then you have, in major metro areas, you have more than 10% of people are behind on their rent, especially in markets, Florida, South Carolina, certain markets in Texas. I mean, the rents there kind of got out over their skis, and then they're way beyond income, and then people are losing their jobs, especially the service industry, gig, side hustle. They're just not able to make these car payments, and people are way behind. 10% of people are behind on their credit card payments, and 1/3 of people are behind on some bill or other, whether it be credit card, car, home, utility, etc. 1/3 of people are behind on their bills. So it's tough out there in the real economy, and that has consequences. I mean, even if tech continues to spin off profits and big banks continue to spin off profits, there's going to be a drag. It just ripples through the economy, and there's no way around it. So eh, I've been talking a lot about, the multiples in the overall market we're really close to all-time highs. Anytime that happens, you're going to get a significant correction. And again, when you see that correction, it's more important than ever to buy quality. That's why I've been saying for years now, I'd rather buy, SoFi savers than Robinhood's traders, because while you don't get the same amount of upside, you get a certain amount of downside protection in that it's a more diversified business. It's not so dependent on, margin and crypto. And, it's basically, I think a lot of the hood run has just been, aided by this never ending bull market. And I don't know if they have contingency plans for when that completely reverses. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a business built to survive down. Now, what happens, to the Palantir valuation if companies stop spending money on what? Now, I'm not saying they're going to, because it might make them more efficient and it might be a wise place for capex and all that stuff. But I'm saying you have to take a careful look at these valuations. You can't just say, I'm going to buy the stock. I want to own the stock no matter what, and I'm going to hold. It doesn't work that way. If you buy the stock at a certain point and then you get cut in half and you start over, your portfolio is never going to grow the way you want it to. You're just going to be ass out of luck. Entry points are critical. Valuation's critical. Plan is critical. Knowing what you own is critical. Do you sell the falling knife? Do you wait for the bottom? Did you go to some cash so you can deploy it at the bottom so you can buy the dips? Or do you get all excited on earnings and just buy everything on SoFi over 32 that day? And then when it drops back to 25 and, it takes a 20% haircut, you don't have a pot to piss in. All you're doing is whining about your paper losses, or worse yet, dumping at 25. But it is what it is, guys. It's tough. Let's go through a few of these stocks. So NASDAQ, it slid down at this 45-degree angle. That's why everybody was saying, Fed Chairman Cook, spoke and crashed the market. It was the unemployment data, sort of contradictory unemployment data. I think Dallas put out some PCE data, so I haven't seen it yet, but haven't had time, guys. A bunch of stuff going on. But basically, you saw this 45-degree slide, and then it flattened out at the bottom. And a lot of stocks have looked kind of like that. So people think it's hedge funds and mechanics pulling levers, but realistically, guys, it's a repricing of some of these, more speculative assets, and it's warranted. I mean, I'm not saying I would have had any problem buying SoFi over 30, but I'm also not saying it's some grossly undervalued at 25. It's all because valuing growth is more art than science. I mean, if GARP is your buddy, do you throw? It's just, what do you pay for these people have decided, well, you'll pay a lot more for Palantir's growth than you'll pay for SoFi's growth, because of the margins, and why do they pay such incredible, multiples for Nvidia? And why is it, even Nvidia is holding up relatively well. I mean, it's down 2 points, but it's still got a pretty rich, PE, but that's coming down. The forward PE is coming down because they're giving incredible guidance. So I don't know. I'd be very comfortable buying Nvidia around the 180 mark. I'd be comfortable buying it here. I am going to buy it here. Let's be honest. Not financial advice for entertainment purposes. Nafa Fepo. Not financial advice for entertainment purposes only. Jimmy's the Sausage King. Hedgies closed the books for the year. Time for the rug pull. You seem to have found the key there, Jimmy. SoFi going to dip to the low 20s. It might. I don't know. It's still holding up above 25. it's come down a premium that you may very well be right. Low 20s is only, 24s is only 40 cents away. But don't forget, it's kind of hung on this level when it came up for several weeks. And then it came down and tested this level in October. So it might bounce off of this 25 level. But it'll, of course, everything depends on what does the overall market do. But again, I would say SoFi for the growth at this point, you're getting an extremely reasonable price. I'd be comfortable paying. I would still wait for Hood and Palantir and some of these other stocks to fall quite a bit further, because I don't think they're built that well for down markets. I think they're basically, the valuation relies on this, perpetual growth story, where SoFi has proven, I think, more resilient, more diversified. I like Noto. He's a battle-hardened guy, decades, in this arena. I think some of the newer, guys who founded a company, been in one company, they sort of have blinders on. And I think they're kind of unrealistic with the valuation that their growth warrants. I mean, especially, Carp at Palantir. He talks at his ER, the arrogance of like he walks on water. And I understand Palantir is a great company. They're very unique. They own the space. But you should speak with humility to your investors. It's like, you're saying, oh, this is the greatest ER ever. You'd be a fool not to buy it, whatever. And then, you're talking like that, and then your stock can still go down. I mean, it does go down, but it's the exact same chart, drops off a cliff, finds support, and then little bump up, and then just trading sideways. So P ratio is still 367. So, that's still pretty healthy. This Bitmine immersion down another 10% to 26 bucks. All the geniuses were saying buy hand over fist at 60. So again, I was telling you, don't do it. But, I'm sure you guys didn't listen to me. And it was just at the 60 level, like a month ago. So, or I don't know, month and a half ago. So that's rough. You lost, 60% of your money, 55, 60% of your money in a month and a half. I don't know. I guess there's intrinsic value. People are like, well, once they get to 5% of the Ethereum, they're going to have this sort of, magical market. I don't get it. Basically, people were buying this because Tom Lee told them to. Like, well, Ethereum could have a 100x super cycle. Well, if my aunt had a package, she would be my uncle. It ain't. It's just like, the market repriced some of this junk real hard. And, I would be very, very cautious. I'm not trying to single anybody out, but think about it. This is like what I say sometimes about like Stock Mo is like, seems like a super nice guy, but he was trying to get people into some of these horrible cryptos and just junk assets, these really high valuations. It's like just, chasing hype. It's very dangerous. Like, yeah, Tom Lee has nice glasses and he's an affable guy and he gets on and he says, things are going to 50x and things are going to this, things are going to that. And then there's the real world where your neighbor's getting his car repossessed and losing his job and can't afford his interest only, adjustable rate mortgage. And he's basically getting bent over a barrel and having a guy to tour the 50 states. And that might not have hit home for you yet, but it's going to. It's going to hit your 401k. It's going to hit your housing, your house price, and your rent's not going to go down. That's the difficult thing is like you keep getting hit on the asset side, but you never get any relief on the liability side. That's just life. Life just kicks you in the nuts, and that's what it does, guys. That's what it does. 10x up today. I'm not really sure why. I think just because it's, again, grossly undervalued, and they're going to sell billions of dollars worth of Lavasamendin, and market makers know it. Robinhood, getting hit pretty hard, down 9% on the day, coming up off of like 150. So, I don't know what the high here was, 150, basically. So it's taken a real good haircut, but I still think the valuation is way too rich to go in on this one. Great company, crazy valuation in my book. Is this company worth, 3 SOFIs? In my opinion, no. I think SOFI is a better company, full stop. It's not going to get the valuation because, Robinhood is obviously making a lot more money at the bottom line right now, much higher margin. But again, it's all crypto, it's all bull market. If their clients start getting liquidated, it's a whole new ball game. This is a great example. Walmart, great print today, up 7%. This is why you want to have some cash. This is why you want to be defensive. This is why you want to be cautious. This is why you want to be Anthony Noto. Iovance, I assume, down today. Not too bad though, 3%. Home Depot, again, this is one I was recommending yesterday, but had a huge crash after earnings. Came all the way down from a high of like 123. So it's down a hell of, 424, and it's down to 333. And its business is still, pretty healthy. We are going to see weakness, of course, if the overall economy tanks. But the business will come back. It's really well managed. They pay a nice dividend. Their balance sheet is in really, really, really good shape. Palantir, again, down 5%, exactly the same chart as all these other busters. SoFi sitting down almost 6%. Man, that had a big, quick tailspin there. It was just, I was going to say, it was just up 25.75 moments ago, but it's kind of gone there and now fallen back through the floor to sort of the all-time low of the day. Not super crazy about this price action, but as premium the option noted, it could definitely fall into the low 20s, but I would love to see the stock hold on to 25. But if the overall market just keeps bleeding, I have to agree with him that it's just not going to happen. Like SoFi doesn't make much net profit. It's cash flow negative. It's a relatively young, it's just not the kind of stock that is going to hold up at this point in time. Now, a few years down the road, yes, might grow into it, but at this point in time, it's just not going to fight an overall bloody, trend in the growth stock. So it is what it is, guys. I wish I could, I wish I could wish it away, but I wish I may, wish I might. I'm still a fat guy, too, if by night, that old, I don't know, guys. Prairie is only down a penny, but there's really not much for this thing to fall. I mean, this is already so undervalued. It's sick, but the market sees risk, the market sees accounting shenanigans, the market sees all kinds of things that I don't see. But what do I know, guys? Not much. Bitcoin was trying to hang on to 90. It was kicked back up to 92, and then twice it kind of came down in the 80s and then kicked back up to 92 and then down to 88 and back up to 92 and then all the way back down here to 86.6 presently. So ugly time in crypto, particularly Bitcoin. You go back a year, starting to get down, this little support area. I had a couple dips down into the 70s, but kind of made a little shoulder here at 86, 85. So I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go. I'm not super into crypto. I have some, but it's definitely not that much of my. And Super Micro has basically just been riding with SoFi all day, kind of down. Started out, obviously, popped up on Nvidia earnings. Was up, I think, in the pre-market as high as like 7 or 8%. I thought it might hold, but this is Nvidia. Not even Nvidia could lift this market. They're just not buying it. It's like, the fact that you can sell these chips in these AI data centers is not going to stop somebody from losing their job and their car and their house and, defaulting on their debt and hurting the banks. It all ripples through. It all ripples through. Banks don't want to repo cars. They don't want to be in the car business. They don't want to rehab houses and, they want you to pay your bills. That's how they make money. They don't make money on repossessions and foreclosures. They lose money. It's a huge liability. Believe me, banks do not want bad loans. Now, some car lots, they work very shady, where it's like they put you at 30% interest and then they want to repossess your car. I know that does happen. But for the most part, it's horrible for legitimate businesses. The last thing they want you to do is default. They have a huge cost on that. So bad. It's bad. It's like crossing the streams. But yeah, Nvidia is fighting pretty hard just because their guidance, this business is like literally like magic. I mean, they have a golden goose. They have, right place, right time, perfect development. They just have incredible management. I would surmise visionary management. Like I said, I would be, and I'm like saying, okay, you could wait and hope it goes below 180 once. I would be perfectly happy just buying Nvidia here, just not worrying about it whatsoever. I mean, it already came down, pre-market at 195. You got another $4 off during the regular session. So yeah, it could come down. I mean, could it come down to 175? Could it come down to 150? I guess it could. Anything could happen, but you know, I just don't see it because this thing's a juggernaut. This thing's just the margins, the gross margins, 73%, and revenue growth just off the charts. They own the market, and it's a very, very, very high margin, lucrative, high growth, taking over the world in every direction type of market. How do you not want to own this company? How do you not want to own Nvidia? You know, it's like, not wanting to date the prom queen. It's like, I don't know. It's just a very good company. So Nasdaq down 1.5 points. Yeah, you had this Dallas Fed PCE prior was 2 point. I don't think we have any new data. I think these are just on the calendar, but I think the government shutdown is still like keeping some of this stuff from being published. Yeah, this bit. I feel bad for people that chased in, Bitmine immersion. I don't know. I don't think Tom Lee paid for all his shares. I sure as hell don't think he paid $60. I think it's a lot of free money he's getting. That would be my just guess. I'm not accusing the guy of anything. If somebody wanted to pay me, millions of dollars to go out and say, hey, Ethereum's going to 100x, would I do it? No. No. But I have morals. And some things are more important to me than money. Because I get opportunities all the time. Believe it or not, even on this tiny little channel, people want to pay you to do stuff. People want to pay you to push some garbage. And it's just no way. This fat man is not for sale. But, for the right price, sure. I just get really, really low offers, really low offers. Of course, my soul is for sale, but only at the highest rates, Good video called Pay the Writer. It's about how everybody in Hollywood wants you to work for free. Cross my palm with silver. Give me some money. Your mention has no value to me. What are you going to mention me on Instagram? Is that going to pay my bills? Pay me. No, I mean, SMCI is a trash pick. I get you, but I mean, I was buying it at. You have to understand how I work. It's been hit very hard, but it's coming off of, I was buying at 20 and I was laddering up calls and I ended up selling them at the perfect time, like in the 60s. So, I made hundreds of thousands of dollars on the stock and I'm playing with house money and I sold my SMCX near the top and I'm holding my shares and I wish I would have sold those. So yeah, in that sense, you're right. But the SMCI has been a massive, massive, massive cash cow for me. That's the truth. So it's, it is what it is, guys. It's not, it makes no difference what you buy. It's when you buy and when you sell. And if you're going to play options, do you understand when to take profits? Do you understand when to roll? Do you understand, what to buy, when to sell? Yeah, but no, you're right. SMCI has been an absolute dog, at least since the top. I think it's still like up on the year though. I mean, if you look at it on the year, it's like, came from 25 to 31. It's just extreme volatility. I mean, you see these pumps and these dumps. I mean, it's 3 pumps to 60. That's not the stock's fault. The company is performing quite well. If they can hit these numbers, it could all be bullshit. But, obviously you got a point. Nobody likes to fall from 60 to 30. It's the same, Bitminer, 60 to 26. It sucks. And yeah, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. The price action has been very, very rough. And I have my shares too. I have my SMCI shares. I have a lot of them. And I've been cut in half. Is what it is. It happens. At least Steelman his arguments. What does that mean, Travis Murphy? Sorry, I don't know what that means. Dan Ives, best dressed. Yeah, Dan Ives is he had an interesting take on the AI bubble. He's like, you guys are just completely wrong. He's like, not only is it not a bubble, like you guys don't even understand it yet. It's like you're still undervaluing the AI revolution. So, yeah, I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna add. I believe SMCI is grossly undervalued, and I think they're gonna hit over 9 billion next quarter, maybe 10. And I think all those projects are already there. They're already on the books. I mean, in later on, say in a year, their business might slow down. All this stuff might hit them, but I think all this stuff they're going to realize this quarter, and it's going to pump the stock on the next ER. And hopefully, they're going to hire a new CFO in there too. That's my hope. Yeah, I can't dump it here. There's no way. I can't. 19 billion market cap. 22 billion last year in sales, 36. And I understand the arguments, margin compression and competition and accounting, all that. It's all legitimate. But, if your sales go from 22 to 40 and your margins go down half a point, I'm not going to cry about that. Your sales increase 80, 90%, your margins go down 0.5%. There are trade-offs. I mean, you're not going to be able to expand margins and take market share, that rapidly as they are in this type of business. So I think they're, walking the tightrope quite successfully, doing a really good job. But it's very painful, guys. I'm not trying to sugarcoat the pick, and I also wasn't telling you to buy the stock at 60. I try to tell you, watch entry points, buy quality, try to buy low. Of course, everyone says that. But I'm saying don't buy the hype. Buy the fear. Now is when you want to buy. That's my opinion. It's not financial advice, not FEPO. But now is when you want to buy. You want to buy this fear. You want to buy it when it's half price. If you buy the top and sell here, what are you doing? Why would you sell it here? Why? When they just had, they basically warned, okay, we're going to miss. It's going to be 5 billion. They got absolutely nailed. And then I said, people like, should I buy? I said, no, don't buy, because they're going to get nailed again on the earnings report. Sure enough. And then even if you bought after that, you're still getting killed because it still continued to fall. But at least you wouldn't have been hit. At least you wouldn't have gotten hurt that bad. I don't want you guys to I'm not trying to get you guys to chase junk at the top. I'm trying to give you my honest, opinion. But if you want me to admit that this stock has been a huge turd, I'm willing to do that. It makes you feel better. I am also a huge turd. You guys are all better than me. That makes you happy. Mandelbaum. Just like a cigar out of Bisquick, Guillermo. Anyway. Yeah, Neo's so tough. It's just getting beat up. It's just nobody's talking about it. It was so hot, ES8, it was the hottest thing in the world, and then ice cold. So I'm not selling Neo either. And, I probably won't, I have too much already, so I probably wouldn't buy more until about 5. But wait a couple days. I hate to say it. Wait a couple days and we'll see it. Anyway, guys, it is what it is. NASDAQ down 2%, everything down. Google hanging tough, some other names hanging tough, but SOFI, Palantir, Hood, Bitminer, Bitcoin, even Nvidia now down 3%. Everything just getting beat to hell. So, yeah, I clap my dog. What can we do? SMCI has no pricing power. Yeah, that's true. I don't know that they have no price. I think you're overestimating. I think you have to at least get into the new product cycle before you judge the company. Judging by the last ER is just foolish, because that wasn't the new sales from the new round of processors yet. The new Blackwell. So at least get them into the Blackwell sales and see what happens to the margins. But no, it is, to an extent, it is a commodity, and it's the same as Dell and it's the same as HPE, but there is an element to it that's not, and they also have a superior product. with the building blocks. So we just have to see that's just getting deployed right now. It's just starting. So I can't say that it's going to work. I can't. I'm hopeful. I remain hopeful. Anyway, the catalyst, the weak economy, people need money. Yeah, this is true. This is very, very true. You need liquidity. You got to pay your bills. You got to pay your mortgage. You got to pay your credit cards. You got to pay your mistress. You got to pay your bill at the strip club. Got to liquidate the Bitcoin. SMCI. If they ET-Val, they will bounce back if they do it, But if there's more, as Travis is noting, more, customer reconfigurations, delays, not wanting to pay, it could be in big, big trouble. But the only thing I can say with SMCI right now is, like, even if they were to hit just like 33 billion, which is what guidance, analyst guidance is calling for, is there really a lot of downside from 19 billion on a company that's profitable and their balance sheet's really not that bad? I mean, I don't know. I think this pricing is messed up, but I'm not in charge of the market, that's for sure. SMCI, everything missed the AI pump. I mean, Nvidia made the AI pump and they're down 3%. So we're all in. Why do they continue to kill SMCI and institutions? Because institutions don't want to sell it right now. Institutions don't need to sell it to pay their rent. You do, and they know that. So look at the volatility on the stock. I mean, look at these crazy pumps. I mean, this thing is nuts. Absolutely. It's been algo held since this. It's been algo held since June of 2023. And it's basically at the exact same level that, was resistance in July 2023. Same exact level. What a round trip. What a round trip. Yeah, SOFI 25. I'm not surprised. Here it goes. Yeah, here we go. Premium the option, called it. Low 20s. There it is. I'd like to see it quickly recover to 25. I'd like to see some institutions. I'd love to see Nodo just come in with a symbolic buy. Whatever, $100,000. I don't care. $500,000, hopefully. Just would really love to see an insider, buy some shares right here. We can't hold up the stock all by ourselves, guys. We need our big brother BlackRock and Vanguard, and but they're not going to prop this thing up either, because they'd rather buy more shares at 20 than they would at 25. So it's retail is going to prop it up right here, if anybody, because nobody wants to be the stilt on a red day. It's like you're going to get your leg cut out and you're going to be the one going timber. You're going to have to perhaps sell later at an even bigger loss. So yeah, that's why it's probably best, to wait and watch for a reversal. And then you'd rather buy at 26 after a, reversal than just guess and buy at 25. And, you might've got 20. You don't know. I hope not, but I got to be realistic, guys. If the market gets horrible and the contagion spreads, SOFI is definitely not immune. It's a high quality, very, very high quality company. I love the company. I love the investment. But I'm not going to tell you it can't fall off a cliff. It can fall off a cliff. And in the right conditions, it will fall off a cliff. So, SOFI is not like a blue chip, dividend type of stock. It's not Procter and Gamble. It's not Home Depot. It's not a multi-$100 billion company. It's a tiny little company, great company. I love the company, but it's not going to buck the overall market trend. It just doesn't have that kind of market power, pricing power, etc. Excuse me, guys. I don't think anything. That's true. That's very true. I always say, yeah, retail are complete pussies. They, buy the dip or sell the dip and smell the rip over and over and over again. That's how market makers make all their money. It's just you selling at a loss. And, fear and, economic need basically pervade. And it's like, hey, I need my money. I'm scared. I'd rather sell at $24.91 than, go to zero and I have nothing. And, just you want to protect what you have. It's natural instinct when you see it slipping away. So But I'm not going to sell my SoFi shares 25 or 24. I think the stock's going to ultimately go up over 100 and be a top 10 financial institution. So I'd rather hunker down, um, you know, hold on to my shares, sell covered calls, uh, and just ride it out, see where it goes. If it goes down to 20, it goes down to 20. If it goes lower, it goes lower. And I wished I would have sold at 32, but that's because you just don't know where that top is. A lot of it looked like it might run more after earnings and didn't end up being the case, but we didn't know that. Could have gone to 35. They said, oh, you're an idiot for selling at 32. But then it goes to 25, 24. You would have been a genius for selling at 32. But that's why it's very difficult to time the market. It just doesn't work for most people. You have to really be very, very savvy and handsome, good looking. No, Travis, you're right on the money, but I mean, a lot of what you're saying, quite frankly, is kind of obvious. Like you're looking at the price, and it's like, okay, this was bad. This is good. In hindsight, it's easy to see, but no, your opinion is right on the money. Um, I'm time traveling. Will never catch up to Danny. I'm also playing with house money, but that house money is getting thin now. In fact, yeah, no, I hear you, ET Val. It's same thing's happening with me too, man. My Palantir puts are eating right now. Yeah, I bet. And Neo 4 years, big balls, same way. Yeah, I've had Neo for years too, and it has not been fun. Um, if SMCI wasn't spray, I don't know. The profits last 2 years. Oh, guys, bought stock option at 35, expiring 2027. I would assume he feels SMCI. I hadn't heard that, but yeah, if that's the case, I would assume so too. Um, Powerless, what a turn up more. Yeah. Anyway, guys, we'll just have to see where this one goes. It looks real ugly right now. Just not seeing any type of reversal. It looked like 1 p.m. we are going to see a reversal, and SoFi went up. Back up to 26 and a quarter, and then just dumped again. It's ugly. I don't know how else to put it, guys. It's ugly out there, and it's getting more painful. SoFi down 7, Nvidia down 3.3. After not a blowout ER, but guidance was really, really good. I mean, to be this size and growing at that rate is just unbelievable. Oh, I wish I was Jensen. A little leather coat, looking cool. Yeah, super micro downside. It's just tough out there, guys. It's bloody. It's very, very bloody. Anyway, nothing I can do, guys. My stocks are getting crushed. Thank God I own a lot of other stuff. It's not such garbage. But no, I don't think SoFi is garbage. I don't think SMCI is garbage. I don't think CRISPR is garbage. I didn't talk about CRISPR, but I assume it's way down too. Um, I think these are really good stocks. I wouldn't necessarily buy them today because we just don't know that they might not be a lot lower tomorrow or Monday. But I will buy them when I think the carnage is over, and I will put on a new pair of tidy whiteys and get out the old stain stick and just go to town. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? Anyway, guys, want to thank everybody for coming by. I hope everybody has a really, really good weekend with their tiny wings and losses. Said that shorters were vindicated. There's another blowout. I called Captain Crisco when you were saying 85 any day. Yeah, I mean, I don't really remember what you were saying, but yeah, if you were saying it was going to be a bad ER, you were definitely right. That's true. So, yeah, no, I still think the stock will go way, way back up if they're able to hit, that 36 billion number. I don't think it'll be it's just price action, guys. It's just price action. Like I said, it ran to 63 times. This is a huge dump, and it's amplified by just the overall market being bloody. So yeah, SMCI, I mean, they have so many weaknesses and vulnerabilities, so many narratives you can run against the company. That they're just not gonna they have even less chance of holding up against a red market than SoFi, far less. So I mean, even the really blue chip names in the growth, Palantirs and Hoods and others are getting absolutely hammered. So there's as the stock goat always says, there's nowhere to hide inside of this market. That's the way it is, guys. That's good for you, Travis. No, we hear you. You don't like SMCI, you didn't like it, you don't like it. I got you. You got it, but you did like it at one point, so you had calls, and then you changed your mind. So You timed it perfectly. Anyway, guys, I don't know when I'm gonna have a chance to come on. I got a bunch of things going on this weekend, so we'll just have to come back next week and lick our wounds and see where things are at. But you know, tough day, but keep it safe, keep it sane, keep it in perspective. um yeah, no, it's just, you know, I get it. Like, yeah, you were right on the money. But yeah, now it's down, so you got to decide. All you can do, it doesn't really matter that you sold and now it's down. Like, that's over. Like, all you can do is decide, you know, what do you want to do now? You want to Now you can either buy, sell, or hold. So obviously, if you hate it, you're going to do nothing because you don't own it. So you were, you know, that's probably the move to make. Like, where could SMCI go? What kind of market cap could it go back down to 15 billion? I guess it could. Market's saying possibly. So I don't know, guys. It's bloody out there. It's tough. Kind of like SOFI annoys me more than anything because everything always like turns on SoFi. Like, you know, the stock's running up through 30. You got that incredible earnings report. Should just run on up through 35, start getting that tech valuation. And then as soon as SoFi hits this, you know, home run ER, good guidance, the bottom just falls out of the market. I don't know what's going on with my internet. so, so crappy. But anyway, yeah. If I get called saying obvious stuff, well, I mean, you're just like the price is down. I mean, it is kind of, you know, I don't mean that as like an insult, but I mean, you're saying like sort of like, you know, the stock has been terrible and the price is down. So it is a little bit obvious. I don't really mean it as an insult. Anyway, it's down. It's down. You sold and you won that round. So good for you, Travis. Tiny Wang hungover brain. That's a terrible thing. Can we please get a Green Day? Billy Joe would love to give you one. No, I would love to give you a Green Day, but I can't control the market. I wish I had. If I had trillions of dollars, I would deploy it and reverse this slide. Believe me, but unfortunately, I have no pricing power. Zero pricing power. Ooh. Okay, guys. I hope everybody has a great weekend. If I don't get a chance to do a video tomorrow, but I hope I do. And I hope if I do, it's good news for once, because this week has just been tough. But guys, multiples and valuations, they are what they are, you know, and the market was just way overheated and you should have taken some profits. You know, anytime you have just huge runners, take some profits off the table. I'm not saying sell everything, but you know, be prudent. You need money to live on, and you can't live on fish stories. Like, you can't live on, oh, last year my account was at this. It doesn't matter if you didn't take any profits and the thing crashes. Like, what good do all those decisions do you? They don't do you any good. So it's about where you buy and sell even more than what you pick. You know, and that's the truth of the matter. But that's why the mechanics usually win, because they really don't care what asset it is. They just care if they're making money. And they take the emotion out of it, which is what we need to learn to do. But it's very hard as tiny wing retraders to make that happen. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate it. It's Un Poco Moss. Hope you guys have a better day. It's been a tough one thus far, but no biggie, guys. That's the way it is. I don't know what else. I had a couple other things I wanted to talk about, but I completely forgot. So I'll try to come back on, but I don't know. I got to do some work. Guys, peace. I'm out.